Hello silver friends, this is Joli from 𝐒𝐄𝐄𝐍, and today we're getting into part 2 of my Simply Silver Curls series. This is my frustration-free starter guide to embracing your natural waves and curls. These are the tips and tricks and product recommendations that I give to people when they come to me and ask me what to do with their natural curly hair. I embraced my curly hair all of my life. But I started the curly girl method in 2001 or 2002 timeframe. So this is basically, you're being able to pick my brain as it's gone through this process for 20 something years. I have picked up quite a few things on the way. There were, for instance, there were no products on the market when I started this process that met the criteria of sulfate-free and silicone-free. There were hardly any product lines at all that were curl-friendly or directed towards curly hair. Since that time, many products have landed on the market, and in the last 10 years, the market has exploded with products. So it's made it very difficult to find products. It's overwhelming, even for me. There are times when I look at shelves worth of product and I'm like, I have no idea what I'm supposed to use because it's just so much. And there are so many influencers out there pushing certain products and certain brands, and their hair looks amazing and you think your hair is going to look like their hair, and it can just be frustrating and overwhelming. Hopefully this is a good starter guide for you to help you kind of make your way through that sea of information when it comes to curly hair care. So let's get started. So right off the bat, I'm going to bust one of the biggest myths in the curly girl world, and that is that there is such a thing as a curly girl holy grail. There's no such thing. There can't be, because everything changes and everything is constantly in change. Your hair changes, the weather changes, products change, life changes, moving, water changes. There's all of these changes happening all the time. So to put your faith in a product lineup that would work for you 100% of the time, 100% effectively, it's a fallacy. You can't expect that to happen. Products in particular are discontinued or reformulated. In manufacturing right now, products are being reformulated left and right because there are sourcing issues all over the place for ingredients and package components and everything. Even the ink on labels is, there's struggle points throughout the manufacturing industry that are causing changes that we don't have any control over as the consumer. So, that really does take that holy grail away from the equation. So I just want to get that out of the way. I think that it eliminates a high amount of frustration when you realize that things change, and sometimes your hair will get really healthy and the products you were using are no longer needed. You don't need all of the nutrients or the moisture or whatever that's in that product that was working really well for your damaged hair anymore. So even then, it's like graduating. You're graduating to, slightly different products or better products, or maybe you don't need as many products. So you see, Holy Grail is just a myth, as we all know. My next tip is on buying products and returning products. So first off, don't just go through all of your products and throw everything away. You want to hang on to products that you love because you may find that you want to go back to them. One thing you want to look at is on all of your containers, or most of them in the cosmetic industry, is this little jar here, and it has a little number in it. That number indicates how many months your product is good after you open it. So it's usually like 6 months, 12 months. In this case, it's 24 months. And it will be when your product basically expires. So one good rule of thumb as you start bringing new products in is mark the date that you opened them so you will know how long they're good for. And if you have products in your stash that are older than 2 years, definitely throw them out. Most products don't last 2 years. And then, look at those little jars, and if it's been in your cabinet for more than 6 months or more than a year, it's time to throw it away. But don't arbitrarily just throw out everything and waste all of that product. The next thing is when you're buying new products and trying them, go for trial sizes and go for travel sizes because you will be able to use that size up, no problem. When you're buying full-size products, think about buying them from a larger retailer like Ulta, Sephora, or Target even, where you can return them. I don't practice this return philosophy very often when it comes to products that are just going to get thrown out. So cosmetics in general, skincare, makeup, and hair care products, when you return them, they just go in the trash. They cannot be donated to anybody because of hygiene reasons, and they cannot be reused or repurposed or anything like that. So if you're buying a full-size bottle of something and then you just take it back after 1 or 2 uses, it's completely a waste. And then if you're shipping it back, it's, a burden on the shipping community. It's, fuel costs and fuel shortages are happening right now. So I kind of think of it from an eco-conscious standpoint where returns are concerned. If you have a friend that is also a curly girl, maybe, you guys make a pact to split full-size containers, or if you don't like something, you swap. You give her your products, and if she doesn't like something, she gives you her products. And that way, that full-size container doesn't just end up in a landfill with full of product. I mean, I think you see where I'm going here. It's just a really smart idea to not contribute to a major problem we have. My next tip is remember that you are meeting your curls for the first time with sulfate and silicones absent from your hair. So you're going to meet some challenge points. Think of it as an experiment and, try to mitigate your frustration levels with it even now. As much as I know I have bad hair days, I have hair days where my curl falls out. Today's a good example of that. It has rained here, it has snowed here, I cooked dinner. So, I've lived a day and I lived it in changing weather and my curls changed as the day went on. And that's okay. It is what it is. You certainly can't control all of those things. And the less you try to, the less frustrating it will be. On that note, if you're trying new products and you try them once and you're like, ugh, these were awful, I'm never trying them again, hold that thought. Keep them for a little bit longer, try them a couple of more times, adjust the amounts that you use, adjust the amount of water that's in your hair. You might find that they actually can work for you. And sometimes products that I, just hated the first time I used them, I went back and used them again later, maybe after I clarified my hair, and I loved them. So give them a good go. Don't just make up your mind after the first wash and, just toss them out. I know that sometimes you will put something in your hair and you're like, absolutely not, I'm never going to use that again. And that's fair enough. That happens to all of us. But what I'm talking about is just using a product, going no, and moving on to the next product without really giving it a full try. I like to try different amounts. Like, let's say it's a new leave-in. I'll try a small amount and see how it reacts. Try a large amount and see how it reacts. Try it under a mousse. Try it under a gel. Just kind of play with it and experiment. One really key thing here is when you start experimenting, use a notebook to kind of track what you're doing so you can see what's happening. And when you're swapping products out, find a go-to lineup, if you will, that pretty much works for you at least 75 to 80% of the time, maybe a shampoo and conditioner. For me, that shampoo and conditioner is 𝐒𝐿𝐿's shampoo and deeper conditioner. Those are my go-to, always in my shower. I always, default back to those products. And then when I swap something out, I only swap one thing at a time unless I'm trying a whole lineup. I do try stuff for the channel and everything. But for the most part, if I'm really playing with something like a new leave-in, I only swap out the leave-in. And that tells me that if something's not right about a product, I know it's just that one product. But you see, if you swap out the leave-in and your gel at the same time, or your conditioner and your leave-in at the same time, you won't know which thing wasn't working for you. So play it by a scientific approach and only change one variable at a time. This will help you when you're taking your notes. You'll see, oh, it must have been that leave-in, or, oh, it was the weather. Let me try it on a dry day versus a humid day. So, keep notes. That'll be really helpful to you. I have a little notebook that I have kept notes in when I was really doing some trial and error type stuff with products. I also kept a spreadsheet of ingredients that I know started to make my hair kind of reactive. And you can do this too if you want to get that detailed with it. But I have a spreadsheet going all the way back 20 years of product lineups that I had tried, because I was starting to notice, for me, my hair was quite reactive and I couldn't figure out what it was reacting to. This can be helpful for you. It is a rabbit hole, so you don't have to do it if you don't want to, but keeping notes will definitely help you. So, moving on. Cocktailing products is something that I see lots of curly girl influencers doing, and I have to say that even for me, I don't like to cocktail products because I feel like you just never know what it was in the 5, 6, 7 things that actually didn't work for you. I understand that you do, with certain hair types, you need a couple more products. Maybe 4 products isn't enough. Maybe you need something else. Start with 4 products is my general rule. I don't think that cocktailing products makes it any easier. It just makes it more complicated. So be mindful of that. If you want to start cocktailing products, make sure you do have that go-to. Make sure you know that this shampoo, this conditioner, this leave-in, or whatever works great for you. And try the cocktailing inside your normal routine and see what happens. But cocktailing can get really confusing and really overwhelming very quickly. On my next tip, I think that Theodore Roosevelt said it best with comparison is the thief of all joy. Don't compare yourself to influencers or a curl type. You might think that you should have 3 C curls when you have 2 B curls. And you might see a bottle that says, this will give you, a really nice tight curl pattern, and it's not for you. And the bottle doesn't contain that curl pattern. It's, kind of false advertising in a way. So you have to work with what you have, and comparing yourself to others is only going to create frustration. So eliminate that frustration by embracing what you have and nurturing it. Because the other thing that happens is, as we age and as we go through hormonal changes, as you ditch the dye, all of these things that change in our lives will change our curl patterns, and you will just get more frustrated with trying to compare that change to someone else's hair. You don't have their hair, they don't have your hair. And I find it really funny. I think about some of the times that I was comparing myself to other influencers, and then I started having a relationship with those influencers where we were having one-on-one conversations, and those influencers would say to me, I wish I had your hair, I love it, it's so beautiful. And I would sit back and think, oh wow, I was comparing myself to them and I wanted their hair, and they see me and they want my hair. So be careful. Comparison is a slippery slope, and it can be very disappointing because you may never achieve what you're comparing yourself to. On that note, comparing yourself to yourself is even dangerous, because you might be comparing your hair to a previous version of itself. This was a trap that I got into because I kept saying, this is not how my hair used to look. And well, no, this is how it looks now. And I have to deal with what it is now. So the best thing you can do is embrace how it is and nurture it for what it is today in this moment. I like to start with 3 to 4 products, maybe 5. You want a good go-to cleanser, so you want something that does your no poo, low poo, or shampoo. I prefer a low poo, which is a sulfate-free cleanser. I would say if you're just starting this journey, go ahead and skip the silicones for a little while. You want to find out what your hair is like with no silicones in it. So make sure there's no silicones in your lineup. If you have gone silicone free and you know that you need a little bit of silicone, I would highly recommend that your silicone be maybe in your hold product, like your gel or your, finishing oil, something that you're using to break your cast or whatever. So don't let silicone be in all of your products. And if you are using silicones, make sure you're not co-washing, because I think that does cause buildup. Make sure that you are clarifying, and check those silicones to make sure that they are either water or shampoo soluble. That will help you eliminate some of the buildup issues that can happen with silicone. I am not 100% opposed to silicones simply because there are certain hair types that do need them. So I won't push hard on that with anybody. However, you want to be mindful of it because it could be the thing that is weighing your hair down or straightening it out or causing buildup that you can't quite cut through. Silicones also, when you have them in everything, can eventually dry your hair out because they are not only blocking the moisture from coming in, but they are blocking moisture from properly moving through your hair. So they're, the moisture is not escaping from your hair and the moisture is not getting into your hair. So you can end up with this weird dryness that can happen over time if you aren't properly removing the silicones and putting moisture into your hair. If you have been straightening your hair and using smoothing products, you probably have been using a lot of silicones. So it's probably a good idea to make sure for right now that your products are silicone free. The third thing is find a really good leave-in or curl cream. That's always a go-to product, I think. I think many, 𝐜𝐴 and curly, can even get away with no gel at all some days, but always have a leave-in. And if you have a silver hair and you can find a leave-in that has UV and heat protection in it and that works great for you, that's even better because then you're, killing two birds with one stone in that regard. Then you want to find a hold product, a gel or a mousse that helps hold the moisture in and hold your curl pattern. The looser your curl pattern is, the more difficult it is to keep that pattern in all day long. Trust me, this is what's happened today. As the day went on and as the moisture and humidity levels changed throughout the day, my curls slacked and became looser. And that's just something that happens. I have very soft hair, so it tends to just get softer as the day goes on. So gels and mousse help with that, and they help seal in the moisture that you've given your curls and help to protect you from losing moisture to dry climate or getting too much moisture from a humid climate. So having a gel or a mousse is a really great help, and I will get into further info on that, where how you deal with that with dew point, in another video. The fifth product might be a sealing oil, and you might want to use that to scrunch out your crunch. That would be a silicone-free oil at this point. And if you know you need a silicone, this would be where you buy nourishing oil, for instance, from Loma is a good one. And you can add that into your routine, and it is a shampoo soluble silicones. So really stick to those 4 products, and I highly recommend when you're first buying products to use those 4 products only for a couple of weeks and adjust your ratios of conditioner, adjust your ratio of leave-in, adjust your ratios of gel, take notes, figure out what's working for you on humid days, on dry days. And you want to adjust, like the water, maybe your hair is soaking wet one time when you put leave-in in, maybe it's damp when you put leave-in in, maybe you put all of your products in the shower, maybe you put your gel on after you get out of the shower. You want to play with the products to see where they best work for you. And it also gives you an idea if a product doesn't work at all because you've used it pretty much in every way possible. My next tip is to learn how to plop your hair. This does take some technique and it does take some learning. It can be frustrating. It took me a while to figure out how to do it for me where it stayed in my hair. But this is a valuable way to set your curls, especially after you've done all of this lovely work with leave-in and gel and you've got it all just in those perfect little clumps and you know it's going to be great. You want to help get that moisture out of there with plopping. This is something that I feel is a valuable thing to add to a curly girl routine. Okay, let's get into best starter products. These are the products that I recommend to people when they're first starting out. There are brands that actually set up kits for you to try based on your hair type. Now, most of these are marketed towards wavy, curly, or kinky hair, and that may not necessarily be what you're looking for, but you can get a kit that is the shampoo, the conditioner, and usually the leave-in, and you can add in your gel however you need to. but many of these brands have starter kits that are in trial sizes and travel sizes, and you can get a really good idea of the lineup and what works for you. First is Jessie Curl. That's the number one I always recommend. 𝐿𝐴 also is a great brand. Then there's Luss brands. Luss is kind of tricky. It can be a fussy product for some people, so you know, just beware on that one. It might not be the best thing for a starter product, but you know, they do have a starter kit, and I think you could, you know, very easily tell if it's going to work for you or not. 𝐿𝐴 Essentials, and add their gel in. I think the 𝐿𝐴 Essentials and gel is a great combination for curly hair, and I think it's a great starter kit, and those all come in trial and travel sizes also. And then there's Rissos Curls, which was a brand that was created for Latin Americans with their curly hair type. So if you have Latin American hair or have that kind of hair, you might find Rissos Curls to be really great product lineup for you, and she does sell those in a trial size and travel kit. And then there's Bounce Curl, and Bounce Curl has several different kits for your hair type, and Bounce Curl's high quality, really great products, so I also recommend them as well. Tools that you'll definitely want for your journey are a notebook. Like I said, you want to take notes. It will help you, trust me. Microfiber towel. I like the Perfect Hair Care towel. That one's really great. It's a very smooth microfiber and it works well. Silk pillowcase and scrunchies. A really great diffuser. I think a diffuser is invaluable for helping you to set your curls after you pull it out of the plop. I love the Black Orchid diffuser, but there are many products on the market, and you just kind of find the one you like the best. Remember, with your hairdryer, you want something that doesn't get extremely hot, or that you can control the temperature and keep it on the low side. Also, you want a wide tooth comb or a wet brush. As always, everything that I have mentioned in this video is in the description box below. Links to brands, links to products that I've talked about, or posts and other videos that will help you with this journey. Also in the description box is a link to my email form, and I would highly suggest you sign up to my email list because I drop all of my new information and announcements in emails. So that's where you're going to find out about new content on the website or YouTube. If you have any questions, please drop them in the comments section below, because I want to do a Q&A video in my Simply Silver Curls series so that I answer questions that you may have that I may not have thought of to include in the series. So that's something I will do towards the end of this series. So please drop your questions below and I'll answer them in that video if I can. If you liked this video, please hit that thumbs up button. And if you haven't subscribed to my channel already, please do so now so that I can see you next time. Until then, shine on.